Okay, we are on. Well, it has been a year, and a lot of stuff has come and gone, and I'm not going to dwell on the stuff that has gone because what's the point? The only couple of things I'm going to mention that I have had in the past year that I have only owned for a short time have been the Boss DD500. I got rid of that after I realised it was just too much delay for me. And it was quite a big year for delays, actually. I had quite a few. Yeah, most of them were, well, they were all awesome, but I realised I don't use delay as much as I thought I did. So it kind of seemed redundant to hold on to all these really expensive pedals and not be using them. So, yeah, I got rid and put the money towards other things. So, there's a lot of stuff. I'm going to try and keep this under 30 minutes if I can. Last year, I think, was 45 minutes or something, I think. Oh, by the way, it's not an accident I'm wearing this. Of course, it is a t-shirt that a user on Reddit a couple of years back designed, and I think I'm the only person that actually bought one. Everyone else had, he made a load of plectrums, picks, whatever you call them, and a load of people jumped on that, and then I think I asked him if he had if it was possible to make it as a t-shirt, and he was like, yeah, sure, and he went ahead and did it and sent me the link, made a post about it and everything, and I think I'm the only person that bought one. So yeah, I know it's riding the line extremely well between awesome and pathetic, but that's kind of where I live, so I feel like I can wear this t-shirt with pride. Okay, moving on. So everything guitar wise that you saw last time is the same. There are two additions in the last couple of months, actually. First one, come on, is this beauty. It's absolutely gorgeous. I can't remember the name of the colour. It's something sunrise, I think, or sunset, something sunset, but it's kind of like a burnt orange colour. It doesn't photograph very well, like it doesn't show up great in some lights, but it is gorgeous and has the dog ear P90s, which sound great. They're Alnico ones made by Epiphone themselves, I think, and yeah, handcrafted in China. It's a beautiful guitar. I had an Epiphone Riviera. I think I had it in my rig rundown video from like 3 years ago, and I missed that guitar so much. I missed having a semi-acoustic. Actually, no, it is an acoustic, isn't it? It's fully hollow-bodied. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I missed it anyway. I missed having this shape because it's such a beautiful shape. Anyway, and the colour as well. I saw the colour and I had to play it. And then when I played it, I couldn't stop playing it. And I ended up coming home with it. I also came home that same day with one of these. Look how awesome. It's so ace. And yeah, if you don't know what this is, it is a Squier Bass 6. As you can tell, it is a 6-string bass, so you can play it like a guitar, but obviously it has the range of a bass. So I'll play that in a little bit, but it's an amazing thing, and it's what I like about it is that it makes you play differently. It's like the difference between playing clean guitar and then putting a load of delay and reverb on your sound. It makes you play differently, and this definitely does that as well. So I love that thing. It's really cool for being creative and coming up with different sounds that haven't tried before, branching out, which I like. Yeah, everything's the same. Everything else guitar wise is the same, so I'm not going to dwell on that. Amp wise, I'm going to take the phone out of here. Ugh. There we go. So the same day that I bought these two, I also came home with this. This is the Boss Katana Artist. Yeah, I've been in the market for a new amp for a while, because as you may remember from last year, out the way, this has been my rig, my amp of choice for the past, I don't know how long. It's got to have been a good 4 years, maybe 3-4 years at least. Yeah, so this is actually sold. I actually sold this to somebody on eBay. They've bought both the head and 2x12 cab for £110. So I think they got a bargain there. And where are we? Put this back up on here. So yeah, the amp is Katana Artist, and there we go. I'm very happy with it. It sounds great. I like it for the cleans it has. I mainly play clean anyway, so that was a priority. That amp, it sounded okay clean, but it really didn't sound spectacular, and that's what I was after. And this definitely does that. It sounds fantastic. Of course, it has all of the extra stuff as well, the digital. When I say modelling, it's his kind of amp modelling, isn't it? But it hasn't really got any kind of specific amp sounds in there, apart from the usual brown lead crunch. They're probably modelled on specific amps, but I'm not sure what they are. But I only use the clean, so that stuff's kind of irrelevant for me. But it does sound great. All that stuff is there if I need it, and I like that. I like versatility. As you can tell from looking here, I'm going to make a separate half of this video showing sounds and all of the extra, yeah, just kind of sampling what all this stuff sounds like and how I use them. There's another close-up of the Artist, by the way, just in case I didn't show the knobs and stuff before, but I'm sure you're familiar with this amp. Oh, it's typical as well that after how long this amp has been on the market, I bought one literally a month before Boss announced the Mark II, so it's typical. Right, okay, let's discuss what's going on here. I'm going to put this other light on because it's that's better. It's a bit dark else. I'm going to sit down for this, as you all should be. Okay, coming up on 9 minutes. Nearly there. Okay, so these are my pedals of choice at the moment. I literally finished putting this together last night and in the early hours, so it's pretty fresh. But the signal chain is complicated, as it always is with me. Starting with the Miku, of course. Miku demands a clean signal. So first in the chain. Second in the chain is the Mel 9. All of the kind of pitch stuff and synth things, I've put them right at the front of the chain because they just sound better. That cable then runs from the Mel 9 all the way somewhere. Yes, I've got my boost over here, which is always on, just to give me a bit of bite. That's modelled on, it's a little Mosky Dodd 250 clone, which is awesome. That then is going into my pitchfork, that's a pedal that won't be hanging around too long into the rest of this year with the Pitchfork Plus that's coming out soon. So your days are numbered, Pitchfork. That is then going... Where are we going? That's an orange cable. Ah, yes. That's going into my line selector. And this is where things start to get a little bit more complicated. So this is the first time I've actually used my line selector on an actual board. So I've got it set up to have A and then B. Oops, pushed that a bit too fast. A, B, and off. So A, B, off. I can cycle through what's in my two loops, which are in loop A. I've got the MS60B from Zoom. This is set up to have a combination of either synth. I can't remember what that effect is. It's like kind of another kind of synthy thing, I think. Octave. There's a Enigma cue balls patch I've got in there that I like to use with my Big Muff, which is also in this loop. So I like to run those together. That's an amazing sound. It has a kind of Mantic flex kind of ish quality to it when both of those are on. So I've got those in the one loop of this. So yeah, I can just have both of them on or off with one press. Of course, I can then cycle to an empty patch if I want to just have the Big Muff on. In the other loop, there you go. I've got the Treble Overdrive and the Myomorpha. So of course, an OCD clone, my favourite overdrive of all time, and the Rat clone. So of course, that's essential to have a Rat on the board. That then... that's the line selector. That goes into... Where does that go? I think that then goes into my EQ, I think. Yes, I'm pretty sure that goes into my EQ7 from ENO. The smallest and most... I suppose it has the most range, having the 7 sliders on there rather than most mini EQ pedals. As you can see, there's a pretty significant lower mid hump there. I basically need that for when I'm playing in my band, because my best mate Ben, as many of you will know, has a Vox, and he's got all of the upper mids to himself, so I need that to kind of stand out, really. It also helps when you've got the Big Muff before it as well, just to kind of... I've got the mids boost switch on here as well, but yeah, that combined with the EQ really helps in a band mix. That then goes into my DVP4 Dunlop, so that's a really nice mini volume pedal. I've also got the auxiliary cable from that going straight into my Polytune Noir. So that's just constantly going to be giving me a readout of what note I'm playing, and of course I can silence my board to tune in silence if I want, or I can kind of keep tabs on how in tune I am as I play. So that's my first time using the Polytune in this way. I've always had tuner worked into my board a more traditional way in the past, but that's my first time using my tuner output, and I haven't noticed any loss of signal or any of the usual complaints that people mention when doing that. So I'm happy. Moving on. Where in the hell did I go from here? So that's the cable going from the volume, and that goes... Where in the... Ah, yes, of course. The turbo flange. This, I kind of wish I'd put nearer the end of the chain, because it kind of gets lost a little bit, I think. Especially the setting that I have it on, which is mode 7, which it is the If I can focus, come on, focus. It's not doing it. The step, basically, the step filter. Don't know why my phone isn't focusing. If I go macro, there you go. Oh, yeah. So the step mode is where I like to live on this thing, and yeah, it sounds rather good. And obviously, being able to control the speed and depth on the fly is cool as well. Also, I think it would have sounded really good in the effects loop of the Super Ego. So yeah, I might do that next time. So yeah, let's go wide again. There we go. Going from the turbo flange, where are we? I can't see exactly where that is. I think that then goes into my first. Yeah, this goes into my first multi-stomp. Not first, sorry. Second multi-stomp. I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot about you. It's fine. I'm sorry. Sorry, I did it again. Second multi-stomp with the yellow sticker. See what I did there? See, clever. And I've even used yellow patch cables as well, just to kind of really make it obvious. So this little box I think I've mentioned before, but just in case you haven't seen this, this is a Wee Lush Effects looper pedal with an added stutter switch. So it's a momentary on-off. So obviously you can have the effect on or off as normal, or you can have a momentary version of that effect. So I'll demonstrate that later, but I've got a few effects in here. I can just cycle through them. I've put a letter M at the beginning just to kind of indicate or remind myself that that they're momentary patches, or ones I've designed for that use in mind. So yeah, I will run through those later. I need to get a lick on. 17 minutes. Okay, so that's the first 70 CDR. Aha, saved myself. You weren't expecting that, were you? And then the orange cable from that goes over here into my recently acquired Boss DD8. Now this thing is an absolute beast of a delay pedal. I adore this thing. And at the moment, let's go macro again. It lives in this mode, warp. So in warp mode, you basically just get the standard delay with the addition of a hold. Let's go standard. So yeah, you basically can use the standard delay and all the functions, knobs, control the delay in the same way as it would normally, except you can also hold and freeze your sound as a momentary effect. So that's really cool, and I like being able to freeze random parts of my playing. And if you'll notice, there is also a TRS cable going into the jack, leading to this, also from Wee Lush Effects. This is a clone of the Boss FS7 foot switch, which is basically the same size as one of their compact pedals. So this is obviously a much smaller and more realistic sized option, I suppose. Here we have on this side the tap tempo. So even though the pedal is off at the moment, no, now it is. Even though the pedal is now off, I can tap a tempo into it. Where are we? There we go. And it will start flashing to show what the tempo is. And you won't actually hear anything until I turn the pedal on. And then when I do, the light goes green to red at the same tempo that you just entered. So if I enter a slower one, you can clearly see it going from green to red, even in this weird light. The other advantage with this foot switch is even with the pedal off, or whatever mode you're in actually, you can access the twist function. Anybody with a Boss DD20 will be aware of this. It's basically it ramps the oscillation into oblivion. And that's a great effect to have and to use, and to also have on tap at all times. So that comes in, you can kick that in even when the pedal isn't on, so you don't have to have delay going on in your sound to be able to start ramping the oscillation. Again, I will demonstrate this later. Moving on, there's a lot to talk about with that Boss pedal, as you can tell, but I've got to get through this. So the DD8 then. Where is that going? I've got a feeling that is going up. Yes, that's going up to my Particle V2 from Red Panda. This is a whole Pandora's box of awesomeness. There is just so much this thing can do. I'm not even going to get into it because it's worthy of a whole video of its own, which I have actually done. So go and watch my whole video on that if you want. That then goes into, if I can remember, I think that goes into my Super Ego. So yeah, the Super Ego is at the heart of my board. I love this thing. It's so easy to use, so versatile, and with the effects loop as well, you can really control using the effect knob. Obviously, that's everything. That's the volume of everything that's in the effects loop and the drone signal itself. So you can fade that in and out. You can fade your clean dry signal out, or raise the volume to give it a boost if you want your playing to be louder than the drone signal that you're playing over. There's so much you can do with it. It's fantastic. I tend to leave it in the latch mode so I can just hit the button to freeze whatever I'm playing, and then if I change the chord or key that I'm playing in, I can press again to change the sound of the drone, so I'm staying in that key, and then a double tap to turn it off when I'm done. So yeah, incredible pedal. I love that thing. In the effects loop, we have got the Alexander Marshmallow, which is a kind of a dual pitch shifter. There's there are two voiced pitches in here. So you've got pitch 1 at the top on the left and pitch 2 on the right. And there's also a sequencer mode in here. There's a whole bunch of different modes going on that you can cycle through. It does a lot of cool stuff. And I wasn't sure quite what to do with it when I first got it, but then putting it in the effects loop of this, it just seemed to work. It seemed to make a lot more sense all of a sudden. So that's where it now lives. And also next to it in the effects loop are the mono inputs. You'll notice, the stereo inputs. I mean, the stereo inputs of the second 70 CDR are going into the no, they are isolated. Sorry, I was trying to work out why they're blue and they're not blue there. Yes, they are. It is after this. However, this pedal is isolated over here, just in case I want to have the Marshmallow and not the Zoom, without having to find a patch in here that is empty. I can just turn it off at a quick push of a button. And the fact that it's also a true bypass looper helps as well. So that is then isolating the stereo inputs only of this pedal. Now that means I'm using this particular Zoom in 2 places on my board. Now, without a loop switcher, as you'll notice, last year I had a big loop switcher on here, which is absent this time. I'm having to use these little mini bypass loop pedals to isolate the inputs on both sides of this pedal. The problem with that being, I can't use both of these at the same time. So this is controlling the mono inputs, and this is isolating the stereo inputs. And if one is on, the other has to be off, because you just get the most horrendous feedback and squealing, oscillating noise, and it's not good. So apart from that, that's pretty much the only aspect of my board that is potentially problematic. But I can handle it. I know not to use them both at the same time, so that's fine. Okay, so yeah, that's the Super Ego. Going from the Super Ego, I have to remind myself where it goes from there. I think. Okay, there's a yellow patch cable there. Oh yes, that's it. That's it. So yeah, it's going from there. I couldn't see the yellow there. Here it is, hiding away. The yellow patch cable going into the tremolo. And I love tremolo so much. It is right at the end of my chain because I just like everything to be as choppy as possible. I've got a preset in here that's a very choppy square wave tremolo, which I can access, turn on and off at will, or I can come out of the preset and just go back into like a kind of sine wave trem thing. But I generally like to leave that as it is. It can do a whole lot of stuff. It does all the ramping things as well. You can tell from the blinking lights that it slows down if you press down, and then when you let go, it goes back to being fast again. Or you can change that to be ramping up in tempo. There's all kinds of things you can do with this pedal. This Swindler effects, they're amazing. That then goes from, yes, that goes from there. Where does that? Ah, yes, of course. It doesn't go very far into my Ditto X4 looper. So yeah, this is a hefty boy, and it's also probably, I think, one of the newest pedals that I've got, certainly on my board. And I don't know a whole lot about it apart from the fact that it's obviously 2 loopers with a whole bunch of cool functions that you can use. And that's about it. I mainly bought it because I wanted a DL4 style looper to be able to use in a kind of a musical way, rather than as an actual practice tool. So yeah, that's kind of, I'm feeling that one out at the moment. But it's so big. Look at it. It just dominates the board. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see over the next few weeks, I suppose, maybe a couple of months. I'll trial it and see how I get on. Whether it'll stay and be a feature, permanent fixture on my board or not. So far, I like it though. Let's hope it doesn't break. This cable then leads from the X4 over here to probably one of my favourite pedals of all time, the humble little Digitech DigiDelay. So this thing is incredible. Every mode sounds awesome. Let's go macro again. And as you can see, just like with the turbo flange, it lives in mode 7, which, as the educated among you will know, is where all of the cool glitchiness goes on. So this is at the end of my board for the simple reason that I can randomly glitch out anything, whatever combination I've got going on, whatever's happening with the Super Ego or my multi-stomps or anything else, or whatever other delays I've got going on. You hit that and it just glitches and stutters everything that goes before it, which is amazing. A lot of fun to play around with that pedal, and you can layer things up with it as well, so you can get some really interesting ambient effects going on. Speaking of ambience, the last pedal in the chain, drum roll. It's the crappiest drum roll ever. This goes all the way over here to the Digitech Supernatural. This thing is a beast of a reverb. Let's go macro. As you can see, there are some extremely unusual, irregular reverb types going on there. Apart from spring, and plate. I suppose plate mod as well is a modulated plate reverb. Those are kind of normal, but the others are all extremely unique and unusual sounding. So yeah, I'm all about that. My old reverb is still about. That's over here. The good old Hardwire RV7. This is also incredible, but I pretty much left it in hall mode and with everything dialed up to max because it just sounded amazing with tons and tons of hall reverb. I pretty much left it in that mode the whole time, so I feel like the Supernatural I've got now is a much more versatile option because I'm actually using more than one setting on it. These are the pedals I've got off my board at the moment. So we've got the other Hardwire pedal I've got that I own is the TR7. It's quite rare. You don't see this around very much, and it has a bunch of really cool modes in it, mostly tremolo based, as you can see. This poses a little bit of a problem for me personally because there is no level knob to counteract the perceived volume drop that comes with using tremolo. So for me, that kind of makes it an off-board only pedal to kind of play around with. 3-pedal challenge videos, I tend to use things like this that I don't have another use for. They're a lot of fun to mess around with, and also the vibe mode on it, vibro pan, rotary, they all sound incredible as well and don't really, they're not affected by not having a volume knob. My C9, Hyperphase, another amazing X Series pedal. That also has the step mode in it, but it's not quite as pronounced an effect as in the flanger. So I kind of prefer that over this pedal. Plus, I don't use phaser that much in my playing. I prefer flanger, which is weird because most people hate flanger, but I really like it. Of course, the Echo Machine from Behringer. And yeah, this is an amazing pedal. It does a lot of very, very, very cool things. All the modes, check it out. That's it gives Boss a run for its money with how many modes it's got going on. It's an impressive thing. I just wish it wasn't a plastic housing. If I could rehouse this into let's say a pedal like this or something else with like dual foot switches, so I could have a tap tempo switch as well, I'd be a happy bunny. Right, up here, this is the bench. This is where all the other pedals I don't use have been relegated to. I'm sorry, the Red House Electronics, or Native Audio as they're now known. The Midnight Phaser, that's on my bench. A couple of mini pedals over here. I've talked about most of these before, I think. Rubberneck, incredible analog delay pedal. I will add that on my board again at some point in the future. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. It's too good. And that's pretty much it. Oh wait, no, I've got a couple more pedals on the windowsill here. Here's my old loop switcher. Yeah, not much more to say about it than that. That's a very involved unit in itself. Over here, I've got a couple of broken pedals that need some attention. My brother-in-law is the electronics whiz in the family, so I'm going to wait for him to have a free evening and take them around to him. But when they're working, they're amazing pedals, especially the flanger hoax. As I said before, I love flanger, so that's got to be fixed. Right, okay. I'm done. That's my rig. Let's hear some sounds. And we're already 5 minutes over the time I wanted to be at. But, oh well. You knew what you were getting into watching this, so you have only yourself to blame. Here comes a bunch of sounds. Okay, so first off, here is my Epiphone Casino. A couple of things I want to change on this. The bridge, it's got doesn't quite buzz, but I feel like it could sustain better. And I don't know, I think the switches are a little bit cheap, and yeah, it feels like they could break very easily. So I'll probably upgrade a few things on this guitar over time. But yeah, it's got a. I think the neck pickup is probably my favourite position on this guitar. It's just got that. It's got a very natural bluesy kind of feel to it. Let's add a bit of drive. Or a lot of drive. That's the downside with a hollow guitar, is the constant threat of feedback. So that's a problem. That's why. It was my fuzz that was on. That's why it was so loud. I was thinking, why is this not doing a damn thing? Okay. So, here's some OCD. That's a bit calmer. That's a lot of fun to play around with. Yeah, so that's with the delay on. As I said before, it ramps the oscillation even when the pedal is off, which is amazing. This booster is amazing. I don't know how accurate it is, how close it is to the original, the Dodd one, but I really like it regardless. It's going out of tune. I like it just to give a little bit of a subtle bite to things. Okay, so that's the Casino. Moving on. Okay, let's crack on. This is the bass 6, and yes, I'm playing with a pick. Sorry, Davey 504, but it had to be done. It's a lot of fun to play around with. Okay. it's a great thing, and the vibrato arm is really cool as well. Playing bass with a vibrato, for crying out loud. Very cool. It does, I think, need some subtle modification. The bridge definitely buzzes a lot. See if you can hear that. Actually, that would help. Yeah, not great. But apart from that, it's great. The action's a little bit high. I might adjust that at some point soon, but never mind. So the weird thing about this is, of course, you can play chords. So chords with bass sounds like this. I know what you're thinking. What does it sound like an octave lower with the pitchfork? Let's hear what that sounds like. That's an octave up. There we go. Let's go 2 octaves. That's like subhuman. 3 octaves. Yeah, that's not even coming through. Yeah, it doesn't need that. It's a lot of fun to play around with. Moving on. Okay, let's delve into the board a little bit. So this is my main guitar. This is a 2001, I think, ish. Made in Japan. Sorry, crafted in Japan. Fender Strat with the big headstock, Texas Special pickups, and it plays like butter. It's got the tiniest width neck and the most extreme radius that I've ever come across on a Strat, and I absolutely love the thing. It gets very quacky, especially in the 2 and 4 positions. You get the idea. Okay, so let's create some soundscapes, shall we? You know what? I'm going to adjust the angle slightly. Let's pause. That's better. Okay, so let's do something with this. Let's try a bit of Mel 9. need to adjust the levels of these. Some pretty cool stuff in here. I forgot I used that one's a lot of fun. Turbo flange. Let's do this. Okay, sorry about this, you guys. It's been nearly an hour in true me style. Let me just correct the angle of this, swivel around for a sign off, and that's good enough. So, thank you for watching, Koalaroo. How's your popcorn? That's it from me. And if you did watch all the way to the end of this video and your name on Reddit is not Koalaroo, then kudos. In fact, kudos anyway. But yeah, thank you for watching if you did. If you didn't, then I don't mind. I don't blame you at all, because who has the patience all the time for anything like this? I do, but I'm a weird, unique person. So anyway, yes, this has gone on long enough. Tune in next year for, who knows, I'll probably be down to like this board next year or something, and I'll just be literally using 4 pedals. Or maybe I'll just go acoustic. Maybe I'll embrace that side of things. Who knows? Either way, take care. I can't wait to watch all the other videos on here this weekend. Have a great weekend, and peace!